From Drake Bell, who couldn't pay his rent,
and I gotta figure out how to pay my rent this month,
to Kevin Spacey, who admitted to having zero money.
How much money do you have? None.
To Kim Basinger, who literally bought a whole town. Here are 20 actors who faced financial ruin behind the glitz, beginning with an extreme example of celebrity excess gone wrong. Nicolas Cage. Known for starring in hits like National Treasure and Face Off, Cage earned an Academy Award and built a strong career. At his peak, the Oscar-winning actor had amassed a staggering $150 million fortune. However, his love for extravagant purchases led to his downfall. By 2009, that fortune had completely evaporated, leaving him owing $14 million to the IRS in unpaid taxes. Cage's spending was absolutely extravagant. He owned 15 palatial residences simultaneously, including actual European castles. He bought a $276,000 dinosaur skull, rare comic books worth hundreds of thousands, and even exotic pets like a $150,000 octopus, just to name a few. When the 2007 real estate market crashed, Cage's property portfolio became worthless practically overnight. The IRS came knocking with a $6.2 million lien in 2009, which eventually ballooned to a total of $14 million. To dig himself out, Cage took on what he himself called crummy rolls to pay off approximately $6 million in debts and sold off properties at massive losses, including his German castle for $2.3 million after buying it for $10 million. Today, his net worth has recovered somewhat to approximately $25 million, a fraction of what he once had. Up next is an actor whose financial crisis is one of the most shocking in recent Hollywood history, Johnny Depp. Despite earning an estimated $650 million throughout his career, by 2017, he found himself drowning in debt. The numbers behind Depp's spending are absolutely staggering. He was spending $2 million per month, which breaks down to some truly eye-watering expenses. $30,000 monthly on imported wine, $300,000 on a 40-person full-time staff, $200,000 on private jet travel, $100,000 for a full-time addiction specialist, and $150,000 on security. He owned 14 homes spread across the globe, an $18 million yacht, and spent over $500,000 annually just storing his collection of Hollywood memorabilia. He also spent $17,000 monthly on luxury bags. Perhaps most notably, he spent $3 million to fire Hunter S. Thompson's ashes from a cannon, because when you're Johnny Depp, even your tributes are extravagant. In 2017, Depp sued his managers at the Management Group for $25 million, claiming they mishandled his finances. TMG countered that Depp's excessive spending was the real problem, detailing his lifestyle in court documents. The lawsuit settled in 2018, but Depp's financial troubles continued. His high-profile defamation trial with Amber Heard in 2022 further strained his finances, and by 2023, he took out a $10 million loan for home renovations. This next actor's financial story involves an entire town and one of the most bizarre celebrity real estate ventures ever attempted: Kim Basinger. In 1989, at the absolute peak of her fame, Basinger and a group of investors purchased Braselton, Georgia for $20 million. The plan was ambitious: transform this tiny 1,700-acre town with a population hovering around 500 people into a movie production center and tourist destination, complete with film studios, music festivals, and a haven for artists. But the venture never got off the ground. Plans faltered with no detailed business plan, no timeline, no roadmap, and no real team in place to execute. There was no visible progress, no construction, no job creation, nothing concrete. Then disaster struck in 1993 when Basinger was sued for breaching her contract to star in Boxing Helena. A jury initially awarded the producers $8.1 million, later reduced to $3.8 million on appeal. Facing this massive judgment combined with the money sunk into Braselton, Basinger filed for Chapter 11 bankruptcy in May 1993, listing $5.4 million in assets against $11.8 million in liabilities. She was forced to sell Braselton for just $1 million, a staggering $19 million loss. Remarkably, Basinger's career bounced back when she won an Oscar for LA Confidential in 1997, which stabilized her finances and revitalized her career. Up next is an actor who had debts of about $10 million in 1996, Burt Reynolds. He was once Hollywood's biggest box office draw in the 1970s and 80s, but by 1996, he filed for Chapter 11 bankruptcy with debts totaling nearly $10 million, equivalent to about $20 million in today's money. The primary cause was his 1993 divorce from actress Lonnie Anderson, which required a $234,594 lump sum payment, $15,000 monthly alimony, child support, and ongoing ranch mortgage payments, plus $47,000 monthly in legal fees. But the divorce wasn't his only problem. Reynolds had invested heavily in failed business ventures, including restaurant chains that cost him $20, $30 million, and a Florida theater that never took off. His extravagant lifestyle with expensive properties and luxury items compounded his problems. He also made the critical mistake of delaying his bankruptcy filing by waiting 2 years before filing, describing it as low cash flow that forced the eventual bankruptcy. Reynolds managed to restructure his debts through the Chapter 11 process and staged a remarkable career comeback with his Golden Globe-winning performance in Boogie Nights in 1997, which reminded Hollywood of his considerable talents. However, his financial troubles weren't over. By 2011, he faced foreclosure on his Florida home, owing $225,000 in missed payments. Sadly, Reynolds died in 2018. This next bankruptcy story is particularly tragic because health issues played a major role. Gary Busey. In 2012, Busey filed for Chapter 7 bankruptcy, listing debts of $500,000 to $1 million against assets under $50,000. The central issue was $451,297 in IRS and state tax debts accumulated from 1998 to 2009. But taxes weren't his only burden. Busey had massive medical bills from UCLA Medical Center tied to ongoing effects from his devastating 1988 motorcycle accident that caused severe brain injury. This accident had long-term consequences that required continued medical care and treatment. Other creditors included Wells Fargo for mortgage debt, lawyers, Pacific Hearing, Waste Management, and LA County Utilities, showing just how widespread his financial problems had become. The bankruptcy discharged $57,000 in debts and allowed him to retain $26,000 in assets, including clothing and a pension, but over $500,000 remained owed, including tax obligations. Post-bankruptcy, Busey sustained himself through reality TV appearances on shows like Celebrity Wife Swap and Celebrity Apprentice, along with sporadic acting roles. His willingness to appear on reality television helped keep him in the public eye and provided income. His net worth today hovers around $500,000, though he faced probation in 2025 for unrelated legal charges, showing his struggles continued long after bankruptcy. Moving on to an actor whose financial troubles spanned his entire adult life, Mickey Rooney. He filed for bankruptcy twice, first in 1962 and again in 1996, showing that his money problems were chronic and recurring. In 1962, at age 42, he had only $500 in the bank against $500,000 in debts. The causes were multiple and devastating. Rooney had compulsive gambling issues, including losing $50,000 at the Riviera Casino. He suffered from alcoholism and pill addiction that affected his judgment and spending. He went through 8 divorces with expensive alimony payments. He invested in failed ventures like Mickey Rooney Macaroni and other business schemes that squandered his MGM-era earnings. He even pawned a diamond ring from his marriage to Ava Gardner to pay bookies. But the worst betrayal came later in his life. Post-1996, his stepson allegedly stole $8.5 million through unauthorized accounts and deals while serving as Rooney's manager. In 2011, Rooney testified before Congress on elder abuse, sharing his painful experiences. In 2013, he secured a $2.8 million judgment against Chris, though it went unpaid. When Rooney died in 2014, he had only $18,000 to his name, owing less than $50,000 to the IRS. Family disputes over his estate continue to this day, with his art collection never recovered. Up next is a former Nickelodeon star who struggled with the challenge of maintaining early success, Drake Bell. In May 2013, Bell filed for Chapter 7 bankruptcy, listing $2.17 million in debts against $1.59 million in assets. His primary asset was his home valued at $1.58 million, but he owed $1.60 million on it, making it effectively worthless and underwater on the mortgage. He also owed $46,000 to the IRS in back taxes and $581,000 in general debts.
And then you're negative. You're in the red. Like, you're not making all of this crazy money. It's all gone.
The most telling detail was his income collapse. Bell's monthly income had plummeted from $408,000 in 2012 to just $2,120, while his monthly expenses remained at $18,000. This massive gap of over $15,000 per month was tied to failed music and acting ventures following his post-Nickelodeon career slowdown. His home went into foreclosure as he couldn't maintain payments.
And I gotta figure out how to pay my rent this month.
In 2017, he moved to Mexico for affordability, where he released albums and appeared on reality TV shows like Celebrity Wife Swap. He currently maintains a net worth around $600,000 today. Moving ahead to another heartbreaking financial downfall that happened when this actor was most vulnerable, Sharon Stone. In September 2001, at age 43, Stone suffered a massive stroke with a 9-day brain bleed. Doctors gave her only a 1% survival chance, making her survival itself miraculous. Her recovery lasted 7 years, during which she experienced sensory changes, memory loss, and couldn't even read. Doctors initially thought she was faking her symptoms, adding insult to injury during one of the most difficult periods of her life. During this vulnerable period, people took advantage and she lost $18 million in savings. Even worse, assets like her refrigerator and phone were put in others' names, leaving her with zero money. She had to remortgage her home to survive and felt forgotten by Hollywood during her recovery period. Stone's recovery focused on letting go of bitterness and living for joy through faith, making a conscious choice not to let anger consume her. She gradually rebuilt her career through advocacy work and selective acting roles, showing remarkable resilience. Today, her net worth is approximately $40 million, a testament to her strength and determination to rebuild after a devastating loss. Her story serves as a cautionary tale about how vulnerable people can be when incapacitated and the importance of having trustworthy people managing your affairs. Next up is a financial story that involves multiple periods of being broke, despite legendary status and critical acclaim. Al Pacino. His first broke phase came in 1972, right after The Godfather made him a star, due to low pay of only $35,000 minus agent and manager fees. The 1980s brought career slumps with fewer quality roles that again left him financially vulnerable, with only $90,000 in the bank at one low point. But the most devastating loss came in 2011, when Pacino discovered his accountant had run a Ponzi scheme that depleted his entire $50 million fortune.
In one part, he talks about losing his money. He went from $50 million to $0 because he had an accountant who mismanaged his funds.
Pacino's lavish spending made things worse. He was paying $400,000 annually just for landscaping, maintaining an unused Beverly Hills rental, and taking his entire family on European trips via Gulfstream jet while booking entire floors at the Dorchester. He owned 16 cars that he didn't need. At age 70, Pacino was forced to take work purely for money. He ended his ban on commercials by doing a coffee advertisement, sold a house, and started charging for seminars at colleges and universities that he had previously done for free. Today, his net worth is approximately $120 million. This next actor's financial downfall started with allegations that ended his career: Kevin Spacey. The nightmare began in 2017 with sexual misconduct allegations that destroyed his career overnight and led to years of costly legal battles. Since then, he has accumulated many millions in legal fees from multiple trials. While he was acquitted in his 2023 UK criminal trial and found not liable in his 2022 civil case, the legal costs continue to mount.
Because I can't pay the bills that I owe. Are you facing bankruptcy? Been a couple of times when I thought I was going to file, but we've managed to sort of dodge it, at least as of today.
How much money do you have?
None.
In 2024, his Baltimore home was foreclosed on and sold at auction, worth millions of dollars. Additionally, he owes $31 million to House of Cards producers following a 2022 arbitration ruling confirmed by California courts. Spacey has avoided formal bankruptcy by helping his insurers with lawsuits and strategic maneuvering, but remains in considerable debt with uncertain housing. His recovery efforts are limited to selective film projects like Peter 5-8, as he continues facing ongoing legal challenges. In a 2024 interview, he revealed he was dodging bankruptcy but had to put all his belongings in storage. Next up is an actor with a pretty interesting financial story: Tori Spelling. Tori's problems escalated in the 2010s with a 2016 American Express lawsuit for $37,982 unpaid since 2015, followed by a second Amex suit in 2017 seeking $87,595. Her biggest debt stems from a 2012 City National Bank loan of $400,000 that defaulted, leading to a 2016 lawsuit and 2017 judgment. Writs of execution in 2019 and 2024 demanded $219,137 from Spelling and $286 from her estranged husband, Dean McDermott, plus accrued interest. Tax liens have been devastating, including $259,108 for 2014 state taxes filed in 2016 and over $1.3 million in federal and state taxes by 2023. Storage debts reached $80,000, resulting in auctioned items from 50 units she'd accumulated since age 18, filled with possessions she couldn't let go of. In 2023, she was living in an RV with her children, signaling severe hardships. relationship. The root of her issues traces to receiving only $800,000 from her father, Sharon Spelling's estate in 2006, far less than the millions many expected, given her father was one of television's most successful producers. McDermott blamed her mother Candy in divorce filings, noting Spelling's earnings vary wildly from $3,000 to $75,000 monthly, depending on work. She's repeatedly denied bankruptcy rumors while pivoting to her podcast, Miss Spelling, and reality TV, though debts persist and lawsuits continue. Moving on to a suit that spiraled out of control. Zsa Zsa Gabor. In 1990, Zsa Zsa Gabor made defamatory comments about actress Elke Sommer in a German magazine, calling her broke and aged, which led to legal action. A jury initially awarded Gabor $125 million and her husband Frederick von Anhalt $2 million, but the decision was appealed and the judgment ultimately went against Gabor for $325 million. In March 1994, Gabor filed for Chapter 11 bankruptcy with assets of only $325,694 against liabilities of $3.3 million. Assets included $20,000 each in clothes, jewelry, and furs, $50,000 in furniture, $119,400 in cash, and a $70,500 truck. Liabilities included a $1.5 million home savings mortgage and $150,000 in legal fees to attorney Melvin Belly. Her monthly income was $25,796 from Social Security and pensions, while expenses hit $22,835, including $10,019 for mortgage and $30,500 for food. Contributing factors included a 25-30% drop in real estate values during the recession, Malibu fire costs for caring for 33 animals, lost lawsuits, and fewer acting roles as she aged. She reorganized under a court-approved plan and continued touring and making appearances until her death in 2016 at age 99. Next up is another star who got dealt the business end of lawsuits, Meat Loaf. Despite Meat Loaf's unprecedented success with Bat Out of Hell, which sold an astounding 43 million copies worldwide, he was involved in 45 lawsuits totaling $80 million, primarily disputes with songwriter Jim Steinman over royalties and rights to the music that made him famous. Meat Loaf countersued for $500 million, claiming $5 million in unpaid royalties from Sony, showing the scale of the financial disputes. Between 1978 and 1984, he suffered from drugs, depression, and vocal loss that severely impacted his ability to perform. 5 consecutive flop albums forced him to tour constantly just to try to stay afloat. He lost his home, possessions, and publishing rights through bankruptcy, which was devastating both personally and professionally. His remarkable recovery came through reconciliation with Steinman for 1993's Bat Out of Hell 2, which sold 14 million copies and reminded the world of their magical collaboration. Royalties finally resumed in 1997 after years of litigation. He also appeared in over 100 films, including Fight Club and Rocky Horror Picture Show, diversifying his income. However, health issues persisted with heart surgery in 2003 and multiple on-stage collapses over the years. When he died in 2022, his net worth was approximately $40 million, showing he'd successfully rebuilt his fortune through perseverance and talent. This next star was the victim of a failed business venture, Debbie Reynolds. In 1992, Debbie Reynolds bought the Paddlewheel Hotel for $2.2 million, renaming it Debbie Reynolds Hotel and Casino in 1993, with $9 to $10 million in renovations. The fatal flaw, she never obtained a gaming license, which is essential for any casino operation in Las Vegas. She leased the casino operations to Jackpot Enterprises, losing $10,000, $12,000 monthly, with overall negative cash flow of $450,000 annually. By 1996, losses hit $6.5 million on $6.4 million in revenue, meaning the hotel was hemorrhaging money despite bringing in substantial revenue. The hotel faced $13.8 million negative capital and $9.8 million in debt. In July 1997, both the hotel and Reynolds personally filed Chapter 11. Reynolds resigned as chairwoman to distance herself from the failing venture. Mismanagement was rampant throughout the operation, focus on timeshares over gaming, high salaries for executives, uncontrolled costs including $75,000 monthly dining losses from the restaurant operations. Failed sales attempts included $16.8 million to ILX in 1996 and $15.6 million to Siegel in 1998. The property was finally auctioned in 1998 for an $11.5 million minimum bid. Reynolds preserved her valuable Hollywood memorabilia collection through bankruptcy and continued performing until her death in 2016, one day after her daughter Carrie Fisher passed away. Moving on to the lesser known of the Baldwin brothers, Stephen Baldwin. In 2009, amid the recession, Stephen Baldwin filed for Chapter 11 bankruptcy, owing $2.3 million at a time when the economy was in freefall. His debts included mortgages totaling $1.2 million on his Rockland County, New York home, valued at only $1.1 million. He had defaulted on $824,000 in payments, with foreclosure repeatedly rescheduled as he tried to work out solutions. Additional debts included over $1 million in federal and state taxes and $70,000 in credit cards. His troubles stemmed from faded roles after 1990s hits like The Usual Suspects and Biodome, plus failed attempts to sell his home in 2006 when the market began turning. The economic recession made everything worse, destroying property values. The bankruptcy case was dismissed in 2010 as he worked out payment arrangements, but problems continued. He lost a $17 million lawsuit in 2011 related to a business dispute and was arrested in 2012 for $350,000 in unpaid taxes. Recovery came through reality shows like Celebrity Apprentice and I'm a Celebrity, Get Me Out of Here, which kept him in the public eye. His current net worth is estimated at approximately $1 million, showing he stabilized his finances, though never fully recovered his earlier wealth. Next up, the actor behind George Jefferson of The Jeffersons, Sherman Hemsley. During a difficult career period, his debts included $15,500 in unpaid taxes across 1996 to 1999, breaking down to $4,683 for 1996, $5,151 for 1997, $5,666 for 1999, and a $1 million loan from a Las Vegas investment firm that he couldn't repay. At the time of filing for bankruptcy in June 1999, he was staying at his manager's home in El Paso, Texas, indicating severe cash flow problems and lack of permanent housing. The Chapter 13 case was ultimately dismissed, allowing him to avoid full liquidation of his remaining assets. However, financial pressures continued throughout his later years. In 2005, he sold his residual rights to the Jeffersons reruns amid ongoing disputes over payment, essentially selling his future income stream for immediate cash. His recovery was limited to minor roles like the 2000 film Screwed, and he lived modestly until dying in 2012 at age 74 from lung cancer. Estate battles ensued after his death, with a 2013 appeals court ruling on residuals that his family fought over. His net worth at death was estimated around $3 million, but debts lingered and complications arose about who controlled his legacy. Moving on to a star whose money troubles were an offshoot of family troubles, Lorraine Bracco. Her 1999 bankruptcy was driven by legal fees between $2 to $4 million from a prolonged custody battle with ex-partner and actor Harvey Keitel over their daughter Stella, following their 1993 split after a 12-year relationship. She listed approximately $2.2 million in assets, including $97,000 in art, $250,000 in jewelry, and real estate holdings. The custody battle, described as vicious and emotionally draining, contributed to depression and lost roles as Hollywood shied away from the controversy and she couldn't focus on work. Bracco called the bankruptcy experience humiliating, but ultimately gained sole custody of Stella, making it worthwhile despite the financial devastation. Her recovery accelerated dramatically with her casting in The Sopranos, 1999 to 2007, as Dr. Jennifer Melfi, where she earned enough to pay off debts, leaving only $50,000 owed by 2006. She viewed bankruptcy as a lesson in financial independence and taking control of her own finances, detailing her experiences in her 2006 memoir, On the Couch. Now in her 70s, with a $14 million net worth, she continues acting and advocacy, a work focused on depression awareness. Interestingly, David Chase originally wanted her to play Carmela Soprano, but she chose the role of Dr. Melfi instead, a decision that shaped television history and proved financially beneficial. On to one of the most shocking cases on this list, 50 Cent. In July 2015, he filed for Chapter 11 with debts totaling $32.5 million against assets of $24.8 million, appearing to be in the hole by nearly $8 million. His assets included an $8.7 million Connecticut mansion formerly owned by Mike Tyson, $100,000 in jewelry, and $10.8 million in accounts receivable. The filing came shortly after a $5 million judgment that escalated to $18.4 million with punitive damages for leaking a private video of Lastonia Leviston, which courts deemed intentionally malicious. He also owed $17 million to Sleek Audio for a failed headphone deal that fell apart. His monthly expenses hit $108,000, including $72,000 for mortgage payments and $5,000 for gardening and landscaping alone. Despite a reported $155 million net worth earlier in 2015 from his vitamin water sale and music career, the Chapter 11 filing strategically halted asset seizures and gave him time to reorganize. His recovery was remarkable and showed business acumen acumen. A 2016 reorganization plan paid creditors over $22 million, and he emerged debt-free by 2017, having successfully used bankruptcy laws to his advantage. Continued success in television with Power and various business ventures brought his net worth to approximately $40 million today. In the next case, the actor's lack of assets was quite astonishing. Mekhi Phifer. He filed for bankruptcy in April 2014 with debts of $1.3 million against just $67,000 in assets, showing he was massively upside down financially. His assets included only $1,500 in cash and $60,000 in clothing and jewelry, indicating he had virtually no liquid assets despite years of television work. Primary debts included a staggering $1.2 million in federal and state back taxes that had accumulated over multiple years, $50,000 in legal fees from various disputes, and $4,500 in child support obligations. His monthly income of $7,500 fell drastically short of $11,000 in monthly expenses, creating a $3,500 monthly deficit that was unsustainable. This gap was tied to career dips following ER 1999-2008, despite landing roles in films like Divergent in 2014. No major asset sales were noted in the bankruptcy filing, suggesting he had little of value left to sell. His recovery came through continuing to work steadily in Hollywood. He continued with roles in Torchwood and the Divergent sequel films, providing consistent income. His current net worth is estimated at approximately $500,000, showing sustained acting work has kept him afloat, though he's never returned to the financial security he once had. Moving on to one of the most tragic financial stories in Hollywood history. Foxx. He filed for bankruptcy in 1983, owing $1.6 million to the IRS for pre-1983 taxes that he'd simply never paid, plus $800,000 to other creditors from various debts. His lavish spending habits were legendary in Hollywood. He spent $373,000 of a $500,000 annual Sanford & Son salary on luxuries, including wine, women, and gambling, leaving almost nothing for taxes or savings.
Have you messed up money?
No, I don't think I messed it up, but I gave a lot of it away to people.
The worst came in November 1989 when the IRS seized his Las Vegas home, 7 luxury cars, all his jewelry, and $300,000 in cash for $750,166 in back taxes, up dramatically from $88,091 he'd owed back in 1983. Foxx tried desperately to recover, even opening a junk store selling his remaining possessions, but he never managed to climb out of debt. His final years were marked by bitterness and financial struggle.
Save your money. You don't get there. Save your money.
When he died in 1991 at age 68 from a heart attack, he owed over $3 million in taxes to the federal government. Most tragically, Eddie Murphy had to secretly pay for his funeral because Foxx had nothing left. These stories reveal harsh truths about Hollywood wealth that many people don't understand. Fame doesn't guarantee financial stability, no matter how big the paychecks appear. If you enjoyed this video, click on the other videos on your screen for more.